I didn't plan on telling this story. Honestly, for a long time I tried to forget it. But some moments don't let you forget. They sit with you replaying themselves in the quiet, especially late at night when everything else slows down. This is one of those moments. The day I learned exactly how small people can make you feel, and how fast the tables can turn when the truth finally walks into the room. It started with a slap, a real one. Loud, sharp, the kind that doesn't just sting your skin, it rattles your sense of reality. 1 second, I was standing there holding my child, half asleep myself, and the next second, the entire cabin went silent. You know that silence, right? The kind where everyone heard it, everyone felt it, but nobody wants to be the first to react. That was the moment everything changed. Let me rewind a bit. That morning, all I wanted was to get from New York to Europe without incident. I hadn't slept properly in days. My toddler was heavy in my arms, my head was pounding, and I was wearing the most comfortable clothes I owned. No makeup, no jewelry worth noticing. Just a soft hoodie, leggings, sneakers, and a tote bag that looked like it belonged to any tired parent. I didn't look important, and that apparently was my crime. At the gate, the boarding pass scanned green. The agent hesitated when she saw my seat number, then smiled politely and waved me through. Nothing dramatic, just a pause. A look. I didn't think much of it. I was already thinking about how to get my kid settled before takeoff. The moment I stepped into the front cabin, though, the temperature changed. Not physically, socially. A woman in a pristine uniform turned around and looked straight at me. Her eyes went from my shoes to my hoodie to my child, and something hardened in her expression. "Excuse me," she said, stepping directly into my path. "Economy boarding is back there." I smiled, still calm, still polite. "I'm actually in the front. Seat 1. She laughed. Not a big laugh. A short one, dismissive. "Sweetie, first class doesn't board like this." That's when I felt it. That old familiar burn. Not anger yet, just recognition. I pulled out my phone and showed her my boarding pass. She didn't really look. She glanced, then looked back at my face like the phone itself had offended her. "We've had people try to sneak up here," she said. "It happens all the time." Around us, people were watching. Men in tailored suits, women with perfect hair and expensive scarves. Nobody said a word. They just waited for me to be removed so their champagne could arrive on time. "I paid for this seat," I said, keeping my voice steady. "Please check the manifest." She did. And when my name came up, I saw confusion flicker across her face. Not understanding. Just disbelief. Like reality had made a typo. Instead of apologizing, she doubled down. Told me there must be a system error. Suggested I sit in the back until things were sorted out. That's when I said no. Calmly. Clearly. Her voice got louder. The captain was called. Suddenly, I wasn't a passenger anymore. I was a problem. A disruption. A security concern. Funny how fast that shift happens, right? Then came the water. Ice cold. Dumped straight onto my shoulder and my child's face. He woke up screaming, terrified, shaking. The woman looked at us and shrugged. "Oops," she said. Something inside me cracked. Not exploded. Cracked. I asked for a towel. She told me to use my hoodie. Called it a rag. And then, leaning close enough for me to smell her perfume, she said something about my child that crossed a line you don't come back from. I told her she'd regret it. She wanted that. She grabbed my arm. I pulled back instinctively to protect my kid, and that's when her hand flew across my face. The sound echoed. My cheek burned. My child screamed louder, and the cabin froze. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I reached into my pocket and made one call. "I need you here," I said. That was it. Security came. Police followed. Suddenly, the story belonged to them. According to the uniform and the badge, I was aggressive. I was resisting. I was lying. They grabbed my arm, tried to pull me up, told me to put my child down. And then everything stopped. Outside the window, the tarmac went still. Vehicles froze. 4 black SUVs rolled up fast and confident like they owned the place. The door opened and a man stepped out who didn't rush, didn't shout, didn't need to. He walked straight onto the plane. Past the crew, past the officers, straight to me. He knelt down and touched my face like it was the most fragile thing in the world. "Who did this?" he asked quietly. I pointed. The shift in the room was instant. Names were said, titles followed. Ownership explained everything no one wanted to admit. The captain went pale. The officer loosened his grip. The woman who slapped me started shaking. What happened next felt unreal. The flight was canceled. The crew was terminated. Passengers who watched and mocked were removed. Policies were exposed. Phone calls were made. Careers ended in real time. And here's the part that still messes with my head. I hadn't been on that flight by accident. I'd been asked to take it as a test, to see how people were treated when they didn't look powerful. I just didn't know how brutal that truth would be. 2 days later, I walked into a boardroom with that bruise still visible. I didn't come as a victim. I came as someone who had seen the system from the inside. Policies changed. Contracts were rewritten. Consequences landed exactly where they belonged. Months later, I saw her again. Same woman, different uniform, different posture. She didn't recognize me at first. Then she did. I didn't smile. I didn't say anything cruel. I just looked at her, and she understood. So yeah, that's my story. About being judged by a hoodie. About silence being louder than words. About how power isn't a uniform or a seat number. It's how you treat someone when you think they can't do anything about it. Now, I want to hear from you. Was it justice, or was it too far? Have you ever watched something like this happen and stayed quiet? Or have you been the one standing there holding everything together, waiting for someone to finally see you? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it.